Hi, I'm Terry Murphy with Realty Times Women in Business, Women in Real Estate, and one of my favorite segments, In the Men's Room with Murph. And in the men's room with me today is a super expert. His name is Deval Bonnet. And Deval is the founder and CEO of Access Smart. It was founded in 2005 when I met Deval, who early in his career understood the importance, the connection between passwords and security and cyber access. And this is way before any of us were thinking about that. And Deval, you've been creating computer security for over 20 years, way back to your original book, which was Online Identity Theft Protection for Dummies. Remember, it was one of the dummy books.
Correct.
And now your latest book, which is, by the way, this one, as you can tell, I'm trying to master it because it's very, very good. It's Making Passwords Secure, Fixing the Weakest Link in Cybersecurity. Now, I just want to give them a little bit about your background because it's so impressive. I mean, top secret security clearance with the US Navy while working on communications with their nuclear submarines at GTE Systems. What was that?
GTE Government Systems. It was a defense contractor.
Wow. And then major companies like Motorola and Siemens and National Semiconductor, but your focus is really mid and small businesses. Is that correct?
Yeah, those are the ones that are getting the targeted hacks, and they're the ones that need the security.
So tell us, why is cybersecurity so important today? I mean, you've been doing this for 20 years and it seems like it's getting more complicated.
Well, when you look at the internet, what was it really designed for? It was just designed for communications. It was never designed for shopping, for online banking, for all the legal transactions that are going on. And because of that, the security has just not been there in place. But because of identity theft and the cyber hacks and the theft, this is where it needs to be secured now.
Well, major companies really have IT departments to deal with all that. And it's interesting from the reports that I've been able to pull from Eponaman, which they are apparently big deals in security and the US cost of data breach security studies. And it's pretty freaking expensive when people have a breach. But you say it's so easier to deal with. Small to medium-sized businesses just have to be aware of a couple of things. Would you agree?
I agree. And I would also say it's kind of the 70-30 rule that I like to use, is that 70% of security can be done just by common sense practices. And then you can put in the last 30% for all the technology. And when you look at the way cybersecurity is set up by businesses, IT takes over it and they just look at it from the back end. But the hackers are coming in from the front end. So they're looking at encryption and all these other types of technologies, but not realizing the weakest link is really the employee with their social engineering, their passwords, and the things that they will do through emails.
Well, I have a question for you. And obviously, especially now with working from home, that has opened a door for hackers that's unbelievable because everybody's going from home computers into infrastructures at their companies. Is that correct?
Yeah, and we're inside the business, inside the company, they had the firewalls and everything in place to somewhat protect the data from the hackers. But now they had to open everything up so their employees could log in. And they had to do it so fast and so quickly that a lot of times they did not implement all the right security. So yeah, now hackers have a much easier time. You're working with home computers now where IT has no control over what viruses that employee has and what they've done. You don't know who's on the computer. A child could be on their computer that's also the work computer. So just a whole new set of cybersecurity variables have entered into the market, the different threats out there.
Well, this sounds awfully complicated. I mean, why do we need passwords, or why do we need passwords at all?
Well, I like to break down, first of all, cybersecurity into 4 elements. And those 4 is, first of all, the communication side of things, the authentication side, the data, and the channel. And when you look at how a hacker actually goes in, they're going in through emails. They're going through spam emails, phishing emails, clicking on links. So to me, that's where you first need to work. And that's the whole authentication side of it. How does the computer, how does the network really know that this is Terry coming in? And most of us will all use usernames and passwords. That's all we're familiar with that. And with all the hack, people are saying passwords are insecure. Passwords are actually a secure form of authentication, and it's one of the 3 factors that we can talk about later. But the big problem is not passwords, it's how and who manages those passwords. Do you know what the #1 password has been for the last 6 years in a row?
I think you need to share it with us.
Most people think the word is password, but no, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's the #1 password that's been out there for the last 6 years. And hackers know that. And then, some people will do clever things like they maybe change an A to the @ symbol or an S to a dollar symbol. Hackers know all of that. And plus, they're not typing these things in. They got computer programs that are running it. So the problem has been how passwords are managed and who manages them. And it's kind of a conflict between the user and IT. IT comes up with all these great policies that you need to go and now have a 12-character long password. Every account needs its own unique password. Passwords have to be changed every 90 days. On paper, those sound great. But in reality, to the user, they are extremely cumbersome to use and to manage. So it's sticky notes, it's using the same password everywhere, it's simple passwords, and we need to get those 2 groups together to where you've got the security and the convenience, because that's what it really needs.
Every 90 days, I would have a heck of a time trying to remember passwords for all the accounts. And a lot of people save them in their computers so they don't have to remember them. What do you say to that?
Well, it's not a good idea. Um, the hackers, first of all, will get in through some type of a phishing email or a link. And then the next thing you know, you've got some spyware in your computer. Now, maybe it's going to do something like a ransomware, or it's just going to monitor what you do. And it's searching and it's going through your computer, and it knows how to find your browsers where all your passwords are, and it will link them, find them. It also can have what they call key loggers, and this is a malware that actually captures everything that you type, and it then sends a report to the hacker every so often of here's all the things that were typed. So having it that way is not secure anymore.
That's just crazy. So you talk about there are 3 ways to establish identity. One is possession. What do you mean by that?
That's something you have, and that could be a token, a card, it's anything, to get into a building, it's your key. Do you have something physical to get in?
Okay. And then knowledge, which I think is your ability to recall a password. Was that what you mean
Yes.
by that?
PIN,
And then the last,
passwords.
and you said inherence, and I don't know what you mean by that.
Inherence is biometrics. That is something you are. That's your face. That is your iris scan. That's your fingerprint. All of those kinds of things that makes you unique. And we don't realize it, but as people, we do this constantly. When you come up to somebody, you recognize them because you recognize their face or you recognize their voice on the phone. That's biometrics.
Okay, that makes that much clearer. I wasn't sure what you meant by that.